Welcome to Lecture 14, Public Administration in China. Introduction. China has more recently been the toast of the world with a phenomenal and quickening pace of growth and development. This achievement is no doubt surprising in view of the fact between 1850s and 1970s, the Chinese society was severely strained by foreign intrusion and internal wrangling. Although the history of modern China would be incomplete without an acknowledgement of the pivotal place of Mao Zedong in the narrative of Chinese modern history since the 1940s. It is to the dynamic and visionary leadership of Deng Xiaoping that much of the development in China can be attributed, partly because he did not see anything in blending socialism with the market, two terms that are akin to words and opposites. But it is exactly under this climate of contrast that one of the world's most surprising and indeed most captivating developmental drive was instituted and consolidated. The driver of this development has not merely been the forces of capitalism, but also the state of which the public administrative system is a chief component. Course objectives. At the end of this lecture, you should be able to 1. Explain the ecology of public administration in China. 2. What are the principal features of public administration in China? And 3. The relationship between the political system and public administration in China. Country profile. China is the world's most populated country with a population which is 37.5% of the world's population. Since the 1980s, China has steadily developed after several years of stagnation and decline, but today has succeeded in bringing over 600 million people out of poverty, a feat of no mean proportion. These developments has taken place under the most unlikely of conditions: the strange marriage of socialism and capitalism. The socialist market economy has grown in 3 decades, bound by cheap labor, cheap capital, and high productivity, which is reckoned to have increased by an average of 20% a year from 1996 onwards. In 2008, the People's Republic of China was the world's second largest manufacturer with 15% of output, just behind 17% of the United States, according to FEMB 2009. The Chinese economy is today the largest economy in the world, with great potentials to overtake the United States in terms of GDP by year 2027, as have been predicted by Goldman Sachs among several notable observers, according to Ferguson 2010. But these developments have been undertaken under a government that have been described by West as deeply authoritarian in view of cases of violation of human rights. This issue was brought to the front burner by the way Chinese government treated the 2010 recipient of the Nobel Peace Prize. China keeps maintaining a very strong state in spite of these eye-catching developments economically. The shedding of Marxist Maoist ideology has made material improvement the prime claim to legitimacy for the regime and the Communist Party. Indeed, a serious decline could put the whole edifice in jeopardy. The Chinese Communist Party remains bent on holding onto power as well as ensuring that there is no internal challenge to its dominance. This posture, it argues, is very crucial to the maintenance of social harmony. And although people enjoy far more freedom than used to be the case some 3 decades ago, organized dissent is forbidden and human rights activists have been persecuted for allegedly mobilizing people against the government. Moreover, it is important to note that China has got its own problem too. For all the developmental strides often attributed to it, it has various demographic problems. It has been predicted that by the year 2030, the share of the Chinese population aged 65 and above will be 16%, up from 5% in 1980, according to Ferguson 2010. And there are indeed 30 to 35 more males than females, which has led to the plausible argument that the next revolution in China will be led by frustrated bachelors. Add this to the problem of pollution, then we have a clear picture of wherein lies the flip side in Chinese success story. Governance environment of public administration. China is a socialist country. The organ of the state power include the National People's Congress, the President, the State Council, local people's congresses, and local governments, autonomous organs in the nationality autonomous regions. The key government structure are the National People's Congress, NCP, which is the legislature, and the State Council, which exercises executive functions. The NCP is the highest organ of the state power and consists of deputies elected by all the provinces, autonomous regions, municipalities directly under the central government, special administrative regions, and the armed forces. It exercises legislative power, revises the constitution, and supervises the implementation of the constitution, examines and approves national economic and social development plans, and reports on their implementation. The NPC is elected for a term of 5 years. The State Council is composed of the Premier, who is head of government, and his cabinet of vice premiers, state councillors, ministers, auditor general, and secretary general. The Communist Party leadership exercises direct leadership over government and legislative functions in a variety of ways. Until recently, China was designed by the socialist and communist ideology. This administrative system was conditioned by the Marxist ideology. This socialist conception organization being influenced specially by Marxist theory of the state. These have 3 elements. 1. The state is an organ of class domination. 2. The state exists to create an order which legalizes and perpetuates the oppression of class by moderating class conflict. And 3. The state is temporary phenomenon. It will disappear with arborization of class. Yet Marxism did not rule out the imperative of organ administrative machinery. It contends that unlike the capitalist society, in a communist society, agencies of admin will be organized on the principle of representation, and functioning will be conditioned by social division of labor. It was no longer being an instrument of oppression, but at the service of their entire society. We can see the difference between the Western and the Chinese socialist conception of bureaucracy. Nevertheless, Chinese bureaucracy still contains most of the characteristics depicted by Weber: international structure, use of rules and regulations, interpersonality of operations, division of labor, employment of trained personnel, complexity of administrative tasks. Chinese administrative system. 1. Like all developing societies, admin in socialist condition such as China face all problem of rapid eco development with inadequate resources. The state bureaucracy was relied for implementation. 2. Emphasis on respondent of admin to the party, leading to constant conflict between party units and government agencies. Public takes command. 3. Conflict purges motivated by policies, e.g., creates proletarian cultural revolution, launched 1966. Mass death in 1976 ushered in an era of change of administration, more towards more deregulated economy or more merit-based. 4. China is defined by countries of long-old traditions of ovation, Tanamism, elitism, ideological orthodoxy, and bureaucratic administration. 5. Interlocking structure of the government and party. Offices linked. Offices juggle posted. Structure of Chinese administration system. Organizational hierarchies reach for the center of nation power to the party congress. Vocal level in communist China. CCP, government bureaucracy. Central committee, police bureau, committee, party secretary direct all the organizations. National People's Congress, state council, all the province and local lands. There is a network of bureaus and agencies affected by cadres who administer and coordinate the government's progress. Knowledge of the way in which the parallel interfunction and interrelate is essential to any understanding of how the admin system is in communist China operates. Although a unitary state China is divided into administrative units, which enjoy merely delegatory as against devolutory power from the central government. Central government, provinces, and autonomous regions. However, municipalities directly under the central government and the large cities are divided into the districts and countries. The cadre system. An important element in Chinese administrative system, that is admin staff, in non-communist system is regarded as bureaucrat. In China, they are called Keda or Kampu, which denote leadership, skill, and capability in organizational setup. Thus, state and party officers are called Kedas. They exist at top level, intermediary level, and bottom level. Every Keda is a party member, but not all party members are Kedas. On the basis of the employment, there are categories of Kedas: states, local, and military. Each group has its own salary scale, system ranks, and grades, like and service in the non-communist states. Comparison between Chinese and Western admin system. 1. In China, there is no central independent agency, that is Civil Service Commission. Thus, member of the party gets preference. 2. Civil servants are totally controlled by the party. There is harmony between party makers and administrators. Civil servants do not form trade unions. 3. Admin in China has a scope that is politicized and characterized by mass-based participative admin. 4. BOLI are based on likely specialization and gradual promotion. But in China, social class, party membership, and level of commitment to commission is more paramount than technical skills. 5. Chinese models do not emphasize specialization and professionalization. For various reasons, it is felt that will discourage the spirit of limitation of the ordinary lower ranking members or the masses. The lower level success is judged at their ability to mobilize the lower cadres. 6. A reflection of organizational autonomy. Admin reflects state objectives. 7. A reflection of national legal justification of is based on comradeship and commitment of public service. No respect of any administrator's life is considered complete irrelevant to his organizational performance, unlike the model. 9. The Chinese do not behave in the content of tenure or view bureaucracy as a career. They may hold posts for long, but they serve at the will of the state. Officers are frequently transferred to another post or down the ladder to meet changing demands. And 10. The Chinese stress the fact that admin should strive to minimize their rules and procedures so that all members, especially the junior, who have new ideas, will be free to carry them out. Summary. Public administration in China is characterized by strong control of the Chinese state, and individuals do not have a personality independent of the will of the state. This is public service orientation that has its roots in Maoist political thought. This rigidity in administration has sometimes made red tape a problem, but the relaxation of rules by procedures has been more recently emphasized to allow individuals some room to be innovative and inventive. However, performance is a crucial aspect of the public administrative system in China, and this ensures that the performance of public officials is tied to their lives, so that their lives have no meaning independent of their performance within organizations. This is the end of lecture 14. Thank you for listening.